Manchester United 3, Fulham 2, big 3 points, 3 wins on the bounce from Michael Carrick and Michael Carrick's Manchester United team SESKO with the late banger 360 no scope of a goal to win it for us. If you're just joining us, if you weren't part of the watch along, I mean, the roller coaster of emotions. I said it there, I'll say it again. We never do it the easy way, ever. We've never done it the easy way. We probably never will do it the easy way. The easy way would have been for us to score the third goal, be up 3-0, cruise to a 3-point victory, and be okay. And in sort of typical Manchester United fashion, good and bad, we blew the 2-0 lead. We gave away a bad penalty. It was 2-1. We then retreated like a turtle in our shell, went ultra super defensive. We were playing scared, and Fulham scored an absolute worldie on us, a banger of a goal, and it's 2-2. And you say, well, that's it. We've thrown it away again. We've failed the test again. It wasn't real again. They only showed up for Arsenal and City. And we play at home to a team like Fulham, and we can't get over the line. We can't get 3 points. And then the team respond immediately, and SESKO getting a well-needed, well-deserved goal. Beautiful dummy to set the play off. Good cross into the box. Good on the ground. Good positioning by SESKO. And an absolute striker's goal. I mean, that's what we bought him for. That's what we know he can do. That's why we back him. That's why we support him. That's why we still believe he's going to do something at this club. And he's going to be a striker for us. And, you know, many people were saying they felt like, you know, maybe we should have started with SESKO. Maybe we should have. He almost scored a goal as well. As soon as he came on, first cross to him, headed it, hit the post. Was unlucky on that one, but it was still a good take. Still a good cross. But massive 3 points. And Manchester United now sit back in fourth where we were and where we belong. And listen, it wasn't the most scintillating performance. We had problems. We had our downs. You know, it wasn't the most eye candy of a performance. Part of the matches was a bit dull. Fulham were a bit dull as well. We were dull as well. But this is what teams that go on to do something and are going to push for something and are going to grow do. Okay? It wasn't, we didn't 100% dominate the performance. We didn't have total control over the match. Fulham had the ball a lot more than I would have liked for them to have. But we scored 3 goals at home, where in matches in the past, we struggled to put 1 against the likes of the Fulhams or the West Hams or the Evertons. We managed to get 3 today. We managed to get 3 points. And really, that's what it's all about. So, you know, Sebastian says, evening, mate. Happy to see you again. Happy to see you, brother. How you feeling, man? How you feeling? What do you think of the match? You know, what do you think about the 3 points? How do you think it went for us? I mean, look, just you know, statistically, and I'm not a massive statistic guy, okay? I like the eye test. I like to go off of what I see with my eyes and my brain, all right? But statistically, Fulham had 58% of the possession. We had 42%. We were at home. We thought and we felt like maybe we would have more possession. We probably should have. That was one of the aspects I didn't necessarily like, because Fulham is not a top 4 team. They're not even a top 6 team. So we should be having majority possession at home. We didn't have majority possession. I think it was a bit at fault for us, because we didn't, it didn't play in the way of that. We let them have possession and we scored 3 goals out of a counterattack. The first one was from, you know, the foul, and it was from a set piece. And The other two, maybe you could say they were from sort of counterattacks, but it wasn't. The second one wasn't really a counterattack. It was more like we got the ball, we were in possession, we slipped it through, and Cunha with an absolute excellent finish, again finding the net and doing what he had to do. Casemiro getting on the score sheet. All the goals that we scored again were fantastic. They were brilliant and really, really good. So, Sebastian says that Kevin goal was a replicate of that Rodgers goal. We should work on these kinds of occasions. It was, and I'm glad you said that because it was literally like for like, exactly how Morgan Rodgers scored on us, and it was different sort of players positionally, but it was the same exact thing. We dropped off way too much. We were way too afraid, which I don't know why, because Fulham weren't even threatening like that. They scored a goal because we gave them a penalty. They put one in, it was chalked off for offsides, and their other best chance was early in the first half. Other than that, they did nothing. There was no reason for us to get so scared. There was no reason for us. Again, it was like, we were like a turtle. We went back in our shell. And I was saying during the watch along, if you were there, if you were live with me, I'm saying we're sitting too far back. I'm saying we've retreated too far. We're not winning the ball back. We're not winning the second balls when they're coming into our box and we're clearing them out. And we're giving the ball right back to Fulham, and we can't do that. And then they scored that goal, from that interaction. And I'm just like, here we go again. We blew it. We absolutely blew it. All the rivals are jumping up and down, cheering. They're ready. They're getting the tweets ready. They're getting their little memes ready to come and banter us and shit like that. But I will say I'm proud of the boys because they had to delete all of that shit. And now they got to go into hiding and they got nothing to say. They got absolutely nothing to say now. They had the tweets. Listen, they had the drafts. They drafted it up. As soon as Fulham put in that second goal, they had the drafts ready to go to come and banter us and come and talk shit because they were all hoping. They don't want to see us winning, all right? They don't like that we beat City and we beat Arsenal. They don't like that we're on a high. They don't like we got 6 points out of the match. They're pissed that we got 9 points. They're pissed we won this match. They had to delete all of that. We've ruined their day, and I'm more than happy to ruin their day. So, what I will say, like an immature little child, take that, you losers. Reynoso says that goal was Ahmad Ball. Watching, if you check back, they did give a go, and Ahmad should have been tracking him. But the team with and without Casemiro is night and day for me. And that's sort of the thing. Like, we don't have... Ugarte is Ugarte, but he's not Cas. And we don't have players. And this is why I was saying... I still think it's a massive gamble. Okay? These guys, Ineos, they want to talk about... And listen, we're going to talk about the protests as well, okay? I'm going to bring up the images because we did have the protests. We covered it a little bit on the live stream. But... They are convinced that we are a top 4 team. They are convinced we are good enough. And they are taking this gamble. Listen, Casemiro came out of the match because they said that Casemiro might have apparently picked up a bit of a knock. So they took him off. I don't know. Maybe it was just a small knock and it's precautionary so it doesn't get worse. But this is the gamble that these people are taking. These Glazerites. Okay? These Glinios fuckers. Alright? This is the gamble they are taking. Alright? We've seen Patrick Dorgu go down with a hamstring. He's going to be out for weeks. We have Casemiro. We have Kobe. If Cass goes down, and Cass is on the older side, okay? So he's a bit more prone to injury. Even if he doesn't have the record, he's a bit more prone to injury. If he goes missing and we lose him for an amount of weeks... we are going to be in a situation that we don't want to be in. Why do you want our football club to be in the position in that position? Why wouldn't you do something about it? You had all of January to do something about it, and you've done nothing. You've done absolutely nothing. So, if that happens to us, and I hope it doesn't happen to us, I really do hope it doesn't happen to us, but I think it's a gamble. And it's listen, I bet on sports, okay? I gamble. It's not a gamble I would be willing to take and put money on. That to me would be one where I would say, I don't really trust that. I don't really trust that. I think that that's a bad gamble. I think that that is a bad one, that you have more of a chance of losing than winning. As soon as Cass was subbed off, we were more exposed. It's because there's just, listen, you don't have players like that. You don't have somebody with that level of experience, with that level of, like, that level of a type of player. Okay, Cass was doing everything. Cass scored a goal today with his head. He was getting tackles in when he could. Okay, there was a lot of times that we weren't getting the tackles in, but he got a few tackles in. He knows the position. He has the experience. There's no player like that. There's no other player. Kobe is there doing Kobe's thing, but he ain't Cass. He's his own guy. And Ugarte ain't Casemiro. We don't have another one like him. And we know the midfield is still weak anyway. Even with Casemiro in there, it's weak. Which is why we're going for a midfield rebuild. But, I mean, look. Fulham had 58% of the possession. XG was 1.74 to United to Fulham's 1.97. We had 3 big chances. They had 2 big chances. We had 13 total shots. They had 14 total shots. Lemons made 4 saves. Fulham's goalkeeper made 3 saves. Fulham had 7 corners. We had 3 corners. Okay, we had 421 passes. They had 561. We had 22 tackles, which you would expect because they had more of the ball. So we need to make more tackles. They had 17. So that split in the ratio isn't even great. And we had 9 free kicks, so we were getting fouled quite a lot, and they had 5 to our 2 yellow cards, and their 1. We had 6 shots on target. They had 6 shots on target. So it was a match that wasn't, we were looking for United to go put out a bit more of a dominant performance. We're at home. We're against Fulham. We're talking about this game is probably going to be different because it's not Arsenal, it's not City, it's not Liverpool. They're set in their ways of playing. They've been doing it for years. And we are sort of in this rebuild, and we've had a lot of changes. We've had Ruben come in. We've rebuilt there. Ruben is gone. We've got Carrick in now. Things have changed. Things are changing and are going to continue to change. So we're kind of in this transition period. And it just didn't go that way. But I will say the most important thing is we've managed to get over the line. And this has come from the confidence, the belief that Michael Carrick has instilled back into the players, back into the team. Their heads didn't go down. There's still that element. There's still kinks in there. And I don't expect it to be completely eradicated. We've had this problem for quite a long time. And we've had it through a couple different managers, okay? We've, it showed a little bit through in this match under Carrick. It showed under Ruben. It showed under Erik ten Hag. I would say it even showed as far back as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And if you want to go back further, fine. But the squads were completely different after that point. We retreat too much. We get scared. Okay, and I think we're working on it. I think Carrick's done well to sort of at least sort of half eradicated. But that period that we ultimately retreated that led to the second goal, we can't do that. That needs to be, ironed out. We lost a bit of confidence there. We started playing scared, and that's why we conceded that second goal. We dropped back way too much. Way too much. And you felt like it was coming. I didn't necessarily know how it was coming, but they had far too much possession of the ball. We weren't able to get it back. But ultimately, we turned it around because we answered immediately, and that's where that confidence comes in. That's where that belief comes in. And because they put that ball in the back of the net, and I think it sort of double proves what I'm saying, because as soon as they scored, we went back into attack mode. We went back into push-up mode. We went back into, you know, going on the forefront. And then we scored from it. If we just held that sort of attitude, if we held that sort of mentality in the beginning, I don't think they would have scored that goal that they scored. I don't think they would have got that second goal that they got. But they did, because we did what we did. And then we took care of business. And, you know, I'm really happy for SESKO. He deserves that goal. A lot of people, not us, but the outsiders, talking a lot of shit. You know, I'm super happy for SESKO and Mateus Cunha, because these are the players that are getting targeted from rivals, okay? They're talking about 4 goals and it's February and this and that. Yeah, now it's a different story, okay? Now we're in a different place. They don't want us to be in a different place. They want us to stay shit. They want us to be the same. And our players have gone out today and they've gotten us the score line that we needed. They've gotten us the 3 points. They've kept us in the position that we need to be. And now we are moving. Now we are moving. Sebastian says, I read that. Andresito says, this is what we want to see from the team. Fight and belief. Carrick did it again. I think people said we need an entire new team. Let's go United. Fulham was in 6th place before the start of the game. There are no easy games in the Premo. There are no easy games, but what I'm saying is we still need to get to a place, okay? We still need to get to a place where we are going out on the pitch as Manchester United. Ultimately, if we're going to win the Prem, if we're going to challenge for it, we need to be going into matches where we don't have 42% possession at home to Fulham. So there's still a bunch of work to be done. There's still a bunch of work, okay? But we found ourselves a little bit here, okay? We've gotten some belief back in. We've gotten some confidence back in, okay? We've gotten some of that back in, but we need more. We need more. It's not enough. It's not enough to do this, okay? Because on another day in the life of football, we don't get that 3rd goal after we give up 2. Okay? We don't get that 3rd goal. We don't want to chance it. We don't want to be chancing stuff. We don't want to leave things up to chance. We need to figure out, we need to find another gear. We need to find another couple of levels, because we should be killing that match. We should be ending that match. That match should not go the way it went. So there is still a bunch of work to be done. I don't know about a whole brand new team, but we do still need to elevate. We still do need to get new players in. We still do need to replace players. This is the life of football. Everybody will look to improve, especially in the summer. There are teams that are still better than us. There are teams that are still close to us, that are sort of behind us at this moment in time. So we have to continue to upgrade. That is a non-negotiable. 110%. You got to go do that job today, so I'm going to dip out. I'll see you in Discord. Have a good day, everyone. Well, thank you, Renoso, for stopping by. Make sure you hit the like button if you didn't on the way out, and if you're just joining us now, make sure you smash that like button. It's very important to the channel. Very important to the channel. Please support us. Thank you very much. Andresito says, Cassie celebrating with Carrick was dope. Yeah, you like to see that. That's the 2nd time they've done that. Andresito says, agreed, but we ain't fighting for the Prem this, yeah? Let's get champions and revisit for more next year. Nah, listen, I get it. But what I'm saying is, the reason why I mentioned that stuff, Andresito, is because I know that the goalpost from the majority of the fan base is going to move after a certain time, okay? We are where we are right now, but the fan base will move the goalpost. And if we don't keep up, if the club doesn't keep up to make sure that the levels of the team, the levels of the club is keeping up with the levels of the expectations, that's when we find ourselves in a very sort of not positive situation, because people's expectations are going to continue to grow. All right, especially coming with these results. We have the squad we have now. We're not going to get anybody in January. So whatever we got, we got. And it better be good enough for the sake of them. Because this is what they're betting on. This is what they're gambling on. And, you know, they sort of have kicked the can down the road to the summer. So they better hope that we do get Champions League. They better hope that we do have a good finish to the season. Because otherwise it's a massive L. And then they need to do the proper job that they have to do in the summer. Because if we finish in 4th, next season the expectations is going to be double. We're going to be back in Champions League. We're going to expect to take a step or two up in the Premier League. And that's really the only way, only where you could go. So I'm referring to this year. Cheers from New York, about to go on a run. Well, enjoy your run. I'm going to go on a run later. Thanks for all the content. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it very much. I do know that there is Tottenham and Manchester City playing right now. So if there's a score in there, we'll keep you up to date. But we do have a little bit left to go in this show as well. What I will say is, you know, Lemons had a couple good saves. Very important. Again, you know, he's been really good since he's come in. I think it's a brilliant signing. I would like Manchester United to do more of these signings. I think that you definitely can do more of these signings. They're definitely out there. 23-year-old from Belgium for 16 million. And he's come in and he's had a massive impact. Okay, we paid whatever we paid for Andre Onana. It was an absolute disaster. Transfer fees aren't always the be-all and end-all. It's not always the determining factor on how good a player is. Okay, we have the largest scouting network out of every club in the world. We should know where these players are. We should go out and do them. We need to fill the squad out. Okay, for next season. And I think they could do a deal like this in January. That's where I'm the most disappointed, because it's like you did that deal for Lemons. There's a deal out there that you can get somebody in for the midfield. Cass is leaving. There's questions over Ugarte if he's going to stay or not. All right. And there's no way you can't tell me that there's some kid or, you know, some person out there for maybe 20 million, something like that. That's sort of like a Sonny Lemon somewhere that we could bring him in and see what he could give us for the rest of the season and forward. You know, it's not, I think I would rather take a gamble on some like 22-year-old playing in like the Belgium league that plays in the midfield, right? Just as an example, it doesn't have to be the Belgium league, but you know what I mean. I would rather take that gamble than sit here and say, no, we got a good enough squad and we'll take care of it in the summer. Don't worry about it. Probably the job in the summer is to offer Forest over 100 million for Elliot Anderson. Well, they certainly are set on Elliot Anderson. I don't think it'll go up to 100 million. Manchester United doesn't seem like, you know, especially Ineos, they don't seem too interested in Elliot Anderson like 100 million. Okay, they're gonna try and go low. Now, if there is some sort of a, you know, transfer war between clubs, maybe it goes up to that price, but maybe we walk out of it. So we got to see how it goes. You know, the World Cup will have an impact as well. I mean, if England perform well and he performs exceptional in the World Cup, then his price is going to be a lot higher. But I don't listen. If you pay 100 million for Elliot Anderson, it's fine. But what I'm talking about is you can mix it up. You could do something right now that's on the cheaper side that could have an impact like Sene. And then you can go for your 100 million, 80 million, whatever, in the summer, you know. Glaze is out, fan. We told players lock up Harry Wilson, Ryan Sessegnon, Gaps balls, ref out in 100 minutes. Yeah, I mean, what was that about? I mean, the ref is a fucking disgrace. Over 100 minutes. 102 minutes. It was 9 minutes of injury time. It was supposed to go for the 99. This guy let it run. I didn't even think he was going to blow the whistle. I thought we were going to play another 90 minutes while we were at it. So, you know, I don't know what the ref was on about, but he clearly didn't want us to win. I think he was quite pissed. Maybe he had a bet. Maybe he had a gamble. Maybe he had a bet on a draw. Maybe he had a bet on United not winning. Maybe a draw, no bet on Fulham. But he seemed like he wanted Fulham to find out find an answer to our third. So yeah, I don't know what that was about, but you know, fuck him. Lucky says, well done. Ahmad Diallo, you must run channel. Cunha, you're waiting press on Luke Shaw. Go far left, push ball away from them along Lisandro Martinez, Harry Maguire, Aiden Evan. Yeah. Well, like, listen, Ahmad Diallo, he had a very good game. A bunch of the lads had a very good game. You know, I think Delo did good defensively when he needed to. I think there's no problems there. I think Harry Maguire had one of his lesser games today because that penalty he gave away was bad. That whole play was bad. And there was like 1 or 2 or 3 instances that he was sort of getting caught out there. So I don't think it was like necessarily a great game for Harry Maguire today. I think Lisandro did his thing when he needed to. Casemiro, I think, was probably, in terms of sort of a complete performance, I think Casemiro was probably man of the match because he scored a goal and he did, you know, all the work in the midfield. And he came off, and you know, as people were pointing out, it wasn't the same, and it was definitely different. Kobe Mainoo, I think, did well in there as well, coming in with that composure as he usually does, doing some nice passing and stuff like that. Bruno Fernandes, you know, 2 assists on the day, yet again, and that's fine. Like, you know, that's what I want from him. You know, we got goals from Cass, we got a goal from Cunha, we got a goal from SESKO. Bruno doesn't need to score. Bruno's got 2 assists. I think Bruno's quite happy with that, and Bruno's doing his job there. And it's really good to see Bruno back in the position where we all know he's best at, where he's the most effective. And you know, it's been a really good change from Michael Carrick, Matheus Cunha as well. Like, you know, scoring goals now. Confident. He was a bit quiet at some times in the game. Like the first half, he did have, you know, he had that one sort of big play that led to the foul, that led to the goal. But he was a bit quiet, and then he showed up with the goal. And, you know, he showed up in a massive way. And that goal he scored was, listen, we shouldn't underrate that goal as well. You know, it might fly a little bit under the radar today because SESKO, and it's SESKO's winner. You know what I mean? And SESKO's goal. But that goal that Matheus Cunha scored is so extremely difficult to score. That ball was rolling in the opposite direction of the goal. That angle is not favorable at all. To run onto that at full speed, and you're like slightly, you know, you're kind of off balance because you're running away from the goal. And to turn your body the way he did and strike it the way he did, and put it in, you couldn't have kicked it in a better position. You couldn't have kicked it with more power in a better position on the goal. And so for him to score that goal was like, you know, it was just brilliant because that's such a tough goal to score. Such a tough 99% of the time you kick that over the net, or you kick it directly at the goalkeeper, or, you know, you lose your footing and you miss kick it and it goes out of bounds, or, you know, it doesn't go where you need it to go. And he got it on target. So, and he put it into the back of the net. So it was really good. By Matheus Cunha as well. Axis here says, hi, we won, yes. Me and my family went to eat after the game. You mean right now? Also, I can't stay for long. I need to take a shower and prepare for the work week. Well, fair enough. I mean, we're not going to stay around for too long either because Manchester City are up 1-0, by the way, which I fully expect. Okay? I fully expected. Tottenham are shit. 20 minutes into that match, Manchester City are up 1-0. Ryan Cherky with the goal in the 11th minute. Live look at the table here. Arsenal on 53, City are on 49 as it stands right now, with them leading the game with the 3 points added in. Villa, by the way, what did Villa do? Villa lost. So, listen, it's good for us because we're 5 points off of them now. They lost 1-0 at home to a Brentford team that had a red card in the 42nd minute of the game. You know, if you were hoping maybe Villa would go and win the title, There's a dent in that, but for us, at the very least, we're 5 points off of them now, and there's a lot of games left to play, and a 5-point gap is nothing in this Premier League, So Chelsea are right behind us on 40, and Liverpool are down in 6th on 39. And those are sort of the main three, or the main two. If you want to throw Brentford in there, they're on 7th on 36, which is also a 5-point gap. So, to be fair, those are basically the main three that are behind us. And we just need to continue to do our job. Tomorrow, you need to drive to work. Wish me luck. I am a bad driver. You're a bad driver. Come on. Come on. Have some confidence in yourself, okay? Get in there. Who's the F1 drivers? Lando Norris. You got to be like Lando Norris, okay? You got to Lando Norris that shit axe. Get in there. Turn the car on. Put 2 hands on the wheel. Say, I'm fucking Lando Norris. I'm a Lando Norris this shit. All right? Cash says, how bad is Ugarte? I don't even know what he does after coming on. He does extreme warm-up on the sidelines and forgets after coming on. Listen. Relax, okay? Let's not destroy our players, all right? All right? He's not Casemiro. We got other things to talk about, Cash. Let's not do this, all right? There's no need to go in on him, all right? We can say maybe we need to move him on. But we're not going to dedicate a part of the show to destroy a player, okay? We need to listen. He's part of the team. He ain't going anywhere. We need him for the rest of the season. After the season's over, we'll do what we have to do. But we need to protect our own a little bit, okay? Because we have everybody coming after our necks, okay? Everybody is pissed that we've turned around. Everybody is pissed that we have found some sort of footing. They don't want us to be good. They're already throwing a pile of shit on top of our players, all right? I've had interactions online. They were coming at Cunha. They were coming at SESKO, calling them flops, calling them shit. Both of them scored today. Take that and stick it up where the sun don't shine, you fucking haters, all right? And if anybody else got anything to say that's not a United fan, all right, about any of our players, come at us, bro. I'll sit you down in your fucking place. We need a little bit of siege mentality, okay? We need a little bit of siege mentality. We need to protect our people. All right? Lucky said, I said everybody let Cunha get tempo off Premier League. Well, I think even just the team is different. The whole thing is different. Carrick, the coaching staff, they've brung back the feeling. They've brung in confidence. Cunha, since Carrick has come in, Cunha, he came off the bench twice, and both times he came off the bench, he was great. He had a big impact. He scored big goals, and he started today, and it wasn't, I would say it didn't necessarily translate to the impact he had coming off of the bench, but in terms of totality of the match, but he still figured out a way to have a big impact. And you can see even in Cunha, the confidence, the strength has sort of come back in. I forgot what match it was. Was it Everton, where he picked up the ball about 15, 20 times, and he's dribbling into 3 or 4 fucking players, and he's losing the ball. And now it's different. Now he's picking up the ball. He's holding off all the defenders. He's showing strength. He's doing that dribbling, holding of the ball, and he's making things happen out of it. And he's scoring goals, and he's scored wonderful goals. So, he's changed, but everybody's changed. Even Sesko's finding the net now, and Blemo, Diallo, Bruno, everybody, Cass, Delo, everybody is playing much better now, much better. Sebastian says, my mate, your predictions for the next game, expecting a win versus Spurs, right? They're losing 1-0. We should definitely listen. If we're gonna do what we need to do, we should go and beat Spurs. All right. I don't know exactly what the scoreline will be, but we're gonna be home against Spurs. We need to give them payback for last season. They are shit. All right. Um, Listen, they're a worse team than Fulham, okay? As it stands right now. I mean, Fulham are on 34. Fulham were, I think, in 6th before the match, as somebody said. And Tottenham are down in 15th, and they're on 28. So we should absolutely be going and beating Tottenham. Okay, I know Tottenham are traditionally a top 6 team. All right, but they're not a top 6 team this season. They weren't a top 6 team last season. And they're not great. So we should be going on to beat Spurs. I expect us to get 3 points against Spurs. If we're going to get top 4, if we're going to get Champions League, we must absolutely go and beat Tottenham. And it's sort of, it's sort of a bigger match because they're considered, I guess, a bigger club than maybe like a Fulham or something like that, or maybe like an Everton, or maybe they're on par. But, those matches tend to be slightly bigger, and there's a bit more sort of implications into it. I mean, they beat us obviously for the Europa League final last year, but they beat us like 4 times. We didn't beat them once last season. So it's a bit of a bigger sort of incentive in that match than it is maybe if you play like a Fulham or something like that. You know what I mean? Axe says, I need to take a shower. See you, GGMU. All right. Good luck, buddy. Be good and stay safe. Cash says, yes, not meant to destroy, but he has to show some character. He runs and tracks well. Just put the head in the game. That's it. Well, listen, I think for me, I don't have much to criticize on him because I know what he is and I knew what he was when we signed him. Like, he is a guy that all he will pretty much do is get a tackle on the ball, maybe break up the play. But that's about it. I don't really expect anything else from him. I don't expect him to do anything else. I mean, that's what his whole game is about. I think the signing itself wasn't the best signing. We're not going to get every signing right. I think the onus on Ineos, since they're in control of the football operations, is to say, look, we signed this guy. He's been here for 2 seasons. It hasn't necessarily been the impact that we needed. We also signed him for Erik ten Hag, and we're 2 managers, potentially 3 managers down the line, and he doesn't fit for what we need. And so move him on, take maybe a little bit of a loss, take the funds, and go revamp the midfield, as we should. As we should. My friend Happy, Tottenham crap performances, 16th in the league. They're 15th right now. They are 15th. But yeah, I mean, he is fairly limited. So I think he is what he is. I don't think there's a need to, where I disagree with is people get into this thing and they say Ugarte shit. So then it's like after every match and every time he comes on the field, it's like you got to have this talk about how shit Ugarte is. It's like, dude, we get it. Like, he's limited. He's not the exceptional player we need. There's nothing we can do about it right now. Let's just forget about it and we'll deal with it later. I feel sad for Tottenham. They have 11 first-team players injured really bad times. I don't. You know why I don't feel bad, Cash? Because nobody gives a fuck when it happens to us. So, there's no sympathy for us. I ain't giving any of them sympathy, all right? They don't care. When we're on the floor, when we finish in 14th, they all kick us in the face and laugh at us, all right? When Tottenham beat us, all right, in the Europa League, they laughed in our faces and they paraded the trophy around, okay? So I don't care about Tottenham. They could have 20 players out. I have no sympathy for them. Just like I'll have no sympathy for Liverpool. I have no sympathy for Chelsea. No sympathy for Arsenal. None of them. None of them. Because when we're in a shit situation, when we're fucked, none of them have the slightest sympathy for us. So I keep that same energy. And to put it bluntly, they're going to go fuck themselves. All right? And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at right now. All right? That's where I'm at. Fuck them all. Because when we're on the floor and when we're on our knees, they kick us in the face and spit on us every chance they get. And then when we try to go up, we try to be a bit conservative about it. No. We need to remember what they were doing to us when we were on our knees begging. When we were on our knees begging to give us a bit of sympathy, and they gave us none. So, listen, every single one of them, Arsenal fans, City fans, all right, Villa fans, Chelsea fans, Liverpool fans, could even go as far as to say Brentford fans, Fulham fans, Everton fans, Newcastle fans, Sunderland fans, Bournemouth fans, Brighton fans, Palace fans, Tottenham fans, Leeds fans for sure, Forest fans, West Ham fans, Burnley fans, and Wolves fans, they all wanted us to lose. They were all cheering when Fulham put in that second goal. All of them were excited, jumping out of their seat. I would put any amount of money on that. All right? So we should go out there and rub it in their face that we got 3 points, that we did it in the United way. Eric, which clubs hates Tottenham Hotspur, Liverpool, Fulham? Well, I do sort of want to get to the post-match comments, okay? Let's get to, like, Michael Carrick's thoughts. We're not going to do a long live show today, all right? It's not going to be normal length. We're going to go for maybe another 15 minutes or so. So, if you guys want, you could drop in, you know, if you guys like player ratings, if you want to give your player ratings, you're more than good to drop them into the chat. I'll read them out. I'll give maybe some thoughts and opinions on what you rate the players. Michael Carrick on Kobe Mainoo saying, seeing him today play with that confidence and belief, it was a real joy to watch. Yep, it's totally different, and it's very, very good. You know, people calling Paul Scholes out again because Lisandro Martinez had another very excellent performance. You know, Paul Scholes, what you got to say now, bro? You know, this is the thing. Like, it's okay to have a shit opinion or a bad opinion, but when you're gonna come out and say, and just give the guy fucking credit and say, you know what, I called it wrong, and he's doing what I want him to do, and good for him. I hope he carries on. You know, how fucking hard is it to do that? You know, they don't buy themselves any favors. Sometimes I feel like these guys don't want us to return back to the top so they stay fucking relevant to something like that, and that's so super cynical. And I wouldn't really want that from our ex-legends, our ex-players, our legends. But, you know, the way they conduct themselves, I find it majorly disgusting. All right. But the fans are doing what the fans need to do. Calling it out. Michael Carrick said there is a huge talent within this team. The boys are desperate to learn and keep improving. You always feel like you've got a chance in a game when you have players on the pitch who can produce moments. The more of them, the better for me. He also said on Kobe Mainoo, without the ball, he was terrific, which I agree with. He was in the positions he was supposed to be in. He then went on to say, and then with the ball, the ability to cope, he's not fazed by it. He just plays his game and understands what is needed. The moments of quality is what we expect from him, but you also forget how young he is. You do sometimes because of the way he plays. And that was sort of what captivated me the first time I saw him. I knew straight away, as soon as I saw him, I said, the way this kid plays with the composure, the way this kid holds the ball and he plays the game. I said it probably a few times in the past, but I know I for sure said it. The way he plays with that composure, with that ball in his feet, it's like he's been a senior pro for like 10 years. You know, for him to play the game like that at the age that he's at is just, you won't find that, really. You won't see that anywhere else. It is something sort of special. It is something different. It's not a normal thing. It's not a normal thing. Go get anybody that's about his age and stick them into a midfield in Manchester United, and you ain't going to see them play with that level of composure. And I mean, even just to compare it, I mean, we saw a little bit of Jack Fletcher and Tyler Fletcher. They are a bit younger than him. They've obviously played less matches than him, but them coming on and playing was not the same when Kobe came on and started. Like, so there is a difference in talent there. Well, Mason Mount is injured, lucky. So there's a negative. Mason Mount is apparently picked up an injury yet again, which is not good because we do have a couple of these players that potentially are injury prone, and Mason Mount is one of them, and DeLitt is another one. And I don't know. Listen, Mason Mount, I think he has good talent, but we got to see what happens. How long is he going to be out for this time? This is sort of the problem. We can't really listen, especially next season. If we are in Champions League and we're playing all these matches, we can't really afford to have a player like that. We can't afford to play. Listen, he hasn't played. It's not like he got injured in a game. He's got injured in training, which makes it worse. He's got this injury, another injury. He's got it in training. He hasn't played a match. So you can't really have a player like that part of the squad. We can't afford to have that. He should be back from injury. But when? We've gotten no update on that. Carrick said, if anything, I was thinking there was a long time to go and we could make the difference. I was really positive that we could find a moment. He said, I was pretty calm all the way through the game, disappointed with the second goal, but I was aware there was still 8 minutes to go. Yeah, I mean, that goal ultimately was just, no bueno. So, Michael Carrick on Benjamin SESKO. He said, I'm so pleased for him. Everyone in the changing room is delighted for him. He's been fantastic, bright in training, doing extras, a lot of one-on-one work with Trav Binion. Ben is a big talent. He absolutely is. That's why we're sticking behind him. We know he's going to come good. He's going to be fine. And I think sort of this aspect that they've taken, I think it's really smart. I agree with it. I've been saying it for a while. We don't, maybe at some point SESKO comes back to starting, but he doesn't need to start every match. And the fact that we can use a player like Mbeumo, who has been in form, who is more experienced than him, who has more Premier League experience than him, and we're starting him up top and sort of taking all of the weight of the world off of SESKO's shoulders, which is what we needed to do. We needed to do that with SESKO. We needed to do it with Rasmus, and the club wasn't doing it, and Carrick's come in and he said, well, he's like, we might not have certainly sort of an out-and-out number 9, another one, but I can use Mbeumo in this situation. I could use him in this position. It works, and it'll be fine. And, SESKO comes on as a substitute. We're up 2-0. We do go to 2-2. And he stepped up to the plate. I asked for players to step up to the plate. Cunha stepped up to the plate in place of Dorgu. Because Cunha wasn't starting and Dorgu was. And Dorgu's out injured and Cunha started and he stepped up to the plate. And then SESKO came on the pitch and he stepped up to the plate and did what he had to do. So I think he'll be absolutely fine. I know what he's capable of. I've seen the goals that he can score. I've seen what he can do. Now it's just about getting him sort of up to a little bit of Premier League level. And just continuing to improve his game. And even somebody like Lemons, bro, you have to remember, he's 23. 23 as a goalkeeper is like, you're still a baby. All right? Because goalkeepers play till they're like 38 now. All right? You're talking about, even if you say Lemons plays to 34 at the top level, another 11 years. He's already this good at 23. And he's a bit of a, I don't want to go too far, but he could be a bit of like, a Courtois regen. in a certain way. I mean, he's not as big as Courtois, but he's still sort of a big figure. He does need to improve on coming out for the punches. We do need to. I think we do need to make him a little bit bigger somehow. That's the one area where it's not his strength, but otherwise, he's come up big. Ever since he's come up into the lineup and he started, he's come up big numerous amounts of times. And these goals that these saves that he's making, I would bet $1 million at least 65, 75% of them, Onana wouldn't be making these saves for sure. So he wouldn't be making these saves. Binder wouldn't be making these saves either. So, and he's younger than both of them, and he's played at a, lesser level than I guess sort of both of them. And he's come in and he's better than both of them, and he's done better than both of them. So he's been really, 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 really good, really excellent. Carrick said we'd prefer to win more comfortably, but it was special. Yeah, I think that's an understatement. I think we've all said that. We would definitely prefer to win more comfortably. But it was a good win. It was a good sort of, comeback. There's some of the United fans. Listen, I don't really like to do this because it's not like this isn't like a drama FC show. I try not to make it a drama FC show. I don't try to do this sort of bullshit back and forth. But I mean, Beth from the United Stand has the most horrible opinions I've ever seen. She literally tweeted at 1 hour ago. So I don't know what point of that was in the match, but it was when SESKO came in. Literally tweeted zero urgency from SESKO whatsoever. Really disappointing. Yeah? What do you got to say to that now? What do you got to say to that now? You never even said that when Rasmus was here, all right? You didn't even say that. And Rasmus was here for longer than fucking SESKO's been here. So she I'm telling you, she has some of the worst opinion. When I actually used to watch the United Stand, by the way, I would only watch Goldbridge because, well, I don't agree with everything he says. He's entertaining and he does make good points. But whenever Beth did the show, I would never watch that shit. I can't stand what she says, and the other guys on there. They talk a bunch of fucking nonsense. They talk a bunch of nonsense. I feel like when they speak, it's like they don't actually know what they're going to be talking about, but they need to fill a time slot. So they just say whatever comes out of their mouth. Carrick said injury time winners at Old Trafford. It's the best feeling, I have to say. There is no better place than in front of the Stretford end. Like that, it ends up meaning more people leave here with more. People leave here with more than United won today. It adds on top of that the connection, the feeling, the emotion. It's why we all love it so much. Well, we definitely know about that. Kobbie Mainoo's stats for the game: most tackles, 4. Most fouled player was him. He got fouled twice. He had an 85% pass accuracy, 5 out of 7 long balls completed. 11 passes into the final third, 4 ball recoveries, and 6 out of 7 ground duels won for Kobbie Mainoo. So, good performance. Good performance by Kobbie Mainoo, for sure. And, not even statistically, you could just with your 2 eyes, you could see that it was a good performance as well. Yeah, and unlike Beth from the United Stand that says no urgency about SESKO, and he was probably on the pitch for fucking 10 minutes, and she said that, I would say that, listen, off the ball movement for SESKO is improving, okay? I think if you watch maybe the first match we played of the season, the first match he played of the season, and you watch what he's been doing in the last couple of games, I think his off the ball movement has improved. His hold-up play is improved, and definitely the finishing is improving because he scored 3 goals now, 2 2 against Burnley, and 1 today. And he could have had 2 because that header came off of the post and it was just, a foot over to the left. So he's talented and he's got a lot of room to improve. He's by nowhere near the finished article, but that's fine. We didn't buy him to be the finished article. We bought him for the potential and the talent that he has now and to grow it and to become our striker for the next, 7 years plus, whatever it is. I will say, though, Xerxes did just come back, I guess, from an injury, but he didn't get on the pitch. So it'll be interesting to see in the next match if Xerxes is going to get some minutes. It doesn't seem like he's actually going anywhere with the reports and updates that we've gotten. So, I don't know. But he didn't come on today. What do I think about the tackle from Maguire, says Sebastian? Well, I said it on the watch along and I said it was stupid. It was really stupid. The whole thing was really bad. It was one of his lesser performances today. There was a few times, listen, that entire play, he didn't read the run that was in behind him. He was slow to react with it, which he can't afford to do because he's slow. So he needs to constantly be on top. He switched off for a second, and that whole thing happened because he switched off for a second, and he didn't properly read that situation, which he was playing catch up the whole time, and that's why that happened. The whole thing was late. He was late for the runner. He's slow, so he was going to be late to catch up to him. And he made the tackle, and he was late on the tackle, which is why we gave up a penalty, because he didn't get the ball, because the whole thing was just from behind the whole time. So, and he lunged at it because he knew. You know what I mean? He lunged at it, and he gave up that penalty because he knew. He knew he fucked up. He knew he was late, and he panicked a bit. Because he was like, fuck, they're in, and this is a chance on goal, and I don't want them to score. So, he tried to do what he had to do, but the whole thing was late. So, it wasn't great, but listen, he's been good. These things happen. If it's not, I don't expect it to be sort of it's not happening on a consistent basis. We won the match. So it's all right. You know what I mean? It's all right. It's okay. Shit happens. Shit happens in football. Shit happens in matches. Just as long as he's not doing it on a game-to-game basis. But there was a couple times in the game, especially towards that period in the end where they started really hitting him there, and he was just late on everything. I actually think without that, he might have scored. Well, listen, maybe, but that's the thing. I mean, we'll never actually know. I mean, the thing is that the thing is about that is, okay, he has the presence there. Maybe the presence puts the striker off. Maybe the presence alone puts the striker off slightly. Maybe if he wasn't there and he doesn't do that, maybe the striker would have had a bit more composure. But ultimately, before Maguire even touched him, Lemons blocked the ball. Lemons blocked the shot. So, it's one of those that it's like you can't really. It's kind of hard to say if and or this and that, because who knows? I mean, if Maguire just never got there and was far away, maybe they would have scored. Maybe Lemons would have still saved it. We'll never actually know because of the way it went. But no, I mean, listen, it could have had an effect on Jimenez. It could have. Because he was there. So maybe he rushed Jimenez, and maybe, it didn't happen. But still, it's a penalty you don't want to give away. You know what I mean? It's a penalty you don't want to give away. You don't want that to happen. You don't want it to be like that. You don't want to give away a pen, and the pen let them back into the game. So, well, listen, it's life of football, all right? These things happen. You're not going to be perfect all the time, and like I said, he's been good. You know, today was one of his matches where it was like on the lower end. I wouldn't say it was like, wouldn't say it was like a 4, but he's been really strong. He's played really well. This was one of these matches where it was a bit on the lower end, and it's fine. Like, this shit's gonna happen. If things like this is happening every week, then we have a problem. But I don't think that it's that big. I am giving Ahmad the number 7 jersey. Definitely not for sale. Well, definitely. I mean, Ahmad is a fantastic player. I love him. I've been hyped up about him for quite a long time. You know what I mean? And I respect and admire him. He plays a lot for the team. He plays a lot for the team. He's not selfish. Today, he did exactly what he needed to do. Today, he did exactly what I was asking for on Friday. Have a go at the players. He's his best when he does that. He's really effective when he does that, and he's really good at it. And he terrorizes people, and it comes off well as well. So he did exactly, right from the beginning of the match. Super confident, taking on players, running, having a, sort of a sprinting duel. Because Fulham's left back, by no means, it's not like he was like some super slow guy. He had pace. So it wasn't like it was the easiest matchup. It wasn't like all he had to do was kick the ball into space and run around him. Like, that guy has some pace to him. He's not slow. So it wasn't the easiest of duels, but he kind of made it look a bit easy because he was doing so well. And then even defensively, like I was saying, like, he's not playing right wing back anymore. He's playing right wing, but he's still coming back and doing defensive duties. And he had a bunch of interactions where he ran back and he got the ball and took it away from Fulham. Could he have done better, or should he have done better, or should he have closed, Kevin down for the second goal that they scored? Sure. But for me, that comes from a team aspect as well. We were sitting too far back. The whole team sat too far back. And when the whole team sits too far back, those things are going to happen. So we needed to push up more. We needed to be a bit more aggressive, the team as a whole in that situation. Would you give Cass a 6 months extension? I would have gave him a 1-year extension on lowered wages, but I would have gave him a 1-year extension on lowered wages. I would give Harry Maguire a 1-year extension on lower wages. I don't think it's a problem at all. I don't buy the people that get super angry and say we need to move them, we need to sell them because they're going to hinder progress, they're going to stop us from getting transfers. I don't believe that. I think if the club is not full of shit, okay, if Ineos isn't full of shit, and they're not totally Glazers 2.0, you can definitely keep Casemiro, and you can definitely keep Harry Maguire for another season, bring in new players, and then go play in 4 different competitions throughout the season. There's going to be injuries, there's going to be suspensions, we need to rotate. You can manage that situation. That is a manageable situation. So I don't really, some people, they get very frustrated and angry because they see them as sort of, past their prime, and they sort of talk about them in the sense of like they're almost a waste of space and they're taking up opportunities from other players. And I'm like, I don't see that at all. They would be part of a squad. If I keep them, I wouldn't necessarily be starting Cass or Maguire week in, week out. I think I would reduce their roles to squad players and use them as part of the rotation. But it's all about how you manage the situation. I mean, I don't think there's any reason to get so mad if they would stay. But Cass is going, so it is what it is. But I would give Maguire a 1-year contract extension. I think he's earned it over the last 3 seasons, 2.5 seasons. and he has a certain level of experience. He's been through a lot. Again, I think we have some young players here, and there's a lot of pressure at United, and, you know, he's been through sort of hell and back. So I think that's something that you can't necessarily buy. I think that's something that you might have to learn at Manchester United. I think he's learned it. And I think he's handled it well. So I think even to have him around for some of these other guys that might go through this, you know, maybe SESKO goes through it, maybe Lenny goes through it, maybe Heaven goes through it. You know, maybe even some of our new signings, you know, if we get an Elliot Anderson or, you know, maybe a Baleba, maybe they go through it. You know, he was the captain at one point. He is a bit of a leader. Last stop ahead says the Fulham game went exactly how we all thought. They are a good team and would test our recent progress, and we kept in the game all the way through. We passed the Fulham test. Lyle says, hey, Eric, you know, you res. What's up, Lyle? Yeah, I mean, it kind of went a little bit the way we thought. The only thing that I said was that I thought maybe we would have majority possession. You know, I didn't think Fulham were going to, like, lay down and get rolled over, but I did kind of think that we would end up with majority possession. I thought that we would be able to control the match a little bit more. And that was probably one of the slight negatives for me, in that, you know, I said it before, I say it again, like, we do have to eventually figure out how to get to a point where we are playing the Fulhams and, you know, we have 60% possession and then we get the win ultimately, because, I mean, they had 58% possession. We had 42, and we're playing at home to Fulham. So if you know, if you want us to go where we want to go, which is ultimately at some point we want to go challenge for the Premier League and then ultimately win it, we're going to have to develop a team, and we're going to have to, you know, figure out some answers to become a team that doesn't have 42% possession at home against Fulham. But, you know, we have a lot of work, but we're working on it right now. So Carrick's come in. It's 3 matches in. We've got 3 wins, 9 out of 9 points. I don't think anybody's probably, I mean, maybe somebody out there predicted it, but I think a lot of people looked at that and said, you know, no way we get 9 out of 9. Or we'd be lucky to get 9 out of 9. We are sitting at 9 out of 9. We're on 3 wins in a row. Frank is 2 matches closer to getting his hair cut, finally. So, last stop ahead says, yeah, Ahmad is razor sharp defensively and offense. He said you could play Ahmad anywhere on the pitch with his tenacity and IQ. And just attitude, you know. I think it just boils down to a player like somebody like Ahmad, which is why I love him so much, and which is why I want more players like this in the team. It's attitude and it's mentality. Ahmad is a player. I don't know him personally, but you can just tell by the way he plays the game, the way I can read it. You can take Ahmad. He might not be effective in terms of, you know, maybe like his build, or, you know, maybe technically ability-wise, but you know you can take Ahmad and you can put him in any position. Even if you put him fucking goalkeeper, he would be trying as hard as he possibly could to do whatever the fuck he needed to do so that the team can get the win. You know, if you put him in centre back, he'll be doing whatever he can. He might be at a complete disadvantage at centre back and it might be a disaster. But what I'm trying to say is, you can put him left wing, you can put him right wing, you can put him left wing back, right wing back, put him striker, put him in the 10. He's going to play for the team. He's going to do as much as a good job as he possibly can give for the benefit of the team. He will try and play the role that he's put in to play the role as good, because he understands, I have a job to do and I need to do this job. You know, it might not be the position I maybe want to be playing. It might not be my favorite position. It might not be my necessarily preferred position, but he goes on to the pitch and he plays it in a way where it's like he's not sort of sulky or moaning or bitchy that he's playing in a position that ultimately is not his favorite position. That's how he plays the game. He's always played the game. Since he's come into our team, he's done what he needs to do. So I value that highly in a player. I think we could definitely use a couple more of them. You know, I used to say we need another Ahmad. I still say we need another Ahmad. Ruben Amorim once upon a time said we need another Ahmad. And I think when we say we need another Ahmad, we need somebody with that level of work rate, that level of mentality, that level of attitude. I would take a couple more of them in a bunch of different positions, for sure. Lyle says we showed too much respect to Fulham, and we sat way too deep, and they punished us, but we showed spirit. The ref really wanted Fulham to get back into it, and at the end, though, I mean, yeah, I don't know what the fuck was up with the ref. I mean, it disgrace to go so way over the time, and it was just like, all right, what'd you put, like 10,000 pounds on a draw or something? You know, what is it? Are you a fucking Liverpool fan or something? Are you an Arsenal fan? Are you still salty about last week? You know, what was it? What actually was it? Because I just don't know. I said we'll probably get 6 to 7 minutes injury time. They gave 9 minutes of injury time, and the ref said, now fuck that, 9 ain't enough. Let's go to 103. And it's like 103. Where you getting 103 from? How did you add 100? How did you go to 103 from 99? From where did the other 4 or 5 minutes come from? From where did you possibly get that from? But to your other point, Lyle, yes. At times, we did show a little bit, I guess you could call it respect to Fulham. I don't really know what it was. I think it's that element of we are trying to battle sort of bad old habits. I think that's really what it boils down to. We have played for a long time under Ruben, and even it happened under Ten Hag, and even you could go as far back as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We have played at times. We play scared sort of defensive football. We turn sometimes into a turtle. We retreat into the shell. Sometimes we're like an ostrich. We get scared. We put our fucking head in the sand, and, we don't want to deal with the shit that's in front of us. And it happened in multiple periods throughout this game. And I think this is this sort of ongoing battle because our heads didn't go down necessarily. Even when we gave up the goals, we still had resilience. We still fought back. We still pushed up. We didn't start throwing like temper tantrums and shit like that. We just said, all right, we got to go fucking get another one. And then we actually went and did it. But I think it's just a little bit of old bad habits. You know what I mean? And that's going to take a bit of time to kink out. That's going to take a bit of time to sort of erase. That's going to take a bit of time to sort of remove it from sort of the brains of our players. I think our players at that moment was having a bit of, PTSD from the past, in that we gave away a penalty. And listen, when you play a game of football, I used to have a coach, and he used to say 1-0 is okay. He said, but 2-0 is the worst scoreline in the world. And there's a reason for that. Because 2-0, what happens is you're struggling to get the third. The other team starts pushing. And if they get that goal, the whole game flips around. And it flips upside down. And the momentum goes completely against you. And, they scored an offsides goal. So they got a little bit of that feeling of putting the ball into the back of the net. They pushed on further. We retreated more because we felt like something's coming. And we didn't know how to necessarily handle that, or we didn't handle it the best. And obviously we handled it wrong because we needed to be a bit more aggressive. We needed to push up more. We needed to be, more confident in what we were doing. And we retreated way too far back. And then sometimes when you get put into a corner or you face a little bit of adversity, sometimes then it flips around back on you, because when they tie that match up and it is 2-2, well, it was almost like a switch went off and was like, well, now we need to go fucking attack. You know, it was almost like we had no chance. It was almost like we had no choice. It was almost like, well, you forced us now that we obviously can't be sitting back in the shell like we've been doing. Now we need to go forward. And they just need to not get into that situation. But I think it's sort of like a learning curve. At 2-1, I think a lot of them were maybe sort of feeling like, fuck, we're here again. We're here again. We're here again. Like, we haven't killed off the game. They've gotten a goal. If they score another one, we've thrown it away. And I think that's what happened. So it's going to take a bit of time, but also what will help us is results. Results. Getting 3 points, scoring goals, continue to score goals. That'll help us. It'll help us erode that sort of mentality. It'll help us keep confident throughout matches and, stay on the front foot and do what we need to do. Sebastian, welcome to the RDE VIP section. Thank you, mate. I greatly appreciate it, brother. Tier 1 member. He's got the red badge. I think the next one after that would be the white badge. It does go by months. It's supposed to. I'm sorry I'm a bit behind on the conversation here. I had to get the full thoughts out. Joe Bay 707 says, I'm happy, but bro, the way play is not sustainable. We can't just sit and counter forever. And that's sort of the thing. And that's sort of the thing. And that's what I was saying in the beginning. I was talking to Andre Cito about it because he's talking about this season. And I'm like, yes, but what happens is, okay, we've won 3 on the bounce. And if we continue to win, people are going to start pushing the goalposts. And you start pushing the goalposts. And I still think, and this is where I disagreed with Andre Cito, because he was trying to throw a bit of shade, I guess, for the people that were fully backing on Marim and saying the team wasn't good enough, which I think, again, this is 2 different circumstances. You're going to play this way, it's different, and we still need to upgrade, but it's different to what we were doing on the Ruben. I think for Ruben's system, the team ain't good enough. I still think it's a fact, and I will argue that with anybody on any day at any time. But we're playing a different system. The team was still more suited to play this system, which many people argued. But, I said, listen, if you make the change, you got to go and follow through with the change. And we do need to, I still think, for the levels that people want us, that are going to push us and where we want to go, we still have massive improvements. This team might be good enough for top 4, but at some point, top 4 ain't going to be good enough, is it? Finishing in 4th ain't going to be good enough. So we're going to have to make massive sort of, improvements. Like I said, we're going to have to find out how to be a team that doesn't have 42% possession at home to Fulham. We can't play counterattack every single match. We can't not have majority possession of the ball every single match. And so far, 3 games in, and that's what we've gotten. So I don't know if this team has the level of players to do that. But right now, we are finding answers. We're scoring goals and we're getting points. So temporarily, we might be able to get away with it for maybe till the end of the season. But moving forward, and especially for next season, it's going to have to change. Last Up Ahead said, the thing with Cass is you can tell he understands that we can't give him the huge last payday his career deserves. It's clear he will get millions for his next contract in Saudi. And why not? Listen, he's at the end of his career. A footballer, when you put it in perspective, listen, a footballer, yes, they earn massive amount of money, but it's, they only play till a certain age. And when you retire, if you retire at 35, 36, you're still super young. Like, today's age, you expect to live till at least like 80 something, if you take care of yourself and everything, is all right. And you don't get into some sort of an unfortunate thing to happen to you. Bro, you retire at 36, like, what you going to do for the rest of your life, That's why a lot of them, they go into punditry and shit like that, or managing, because you need a job. And if you don't have a job, even all the money that you earned, you will run out of that money. It's not enough to sustain you for the rest of your life and your family. So happy for SESKO. The kid is good. Yep, super happy for SESKO. Super happy for SESKO. Super happy for Cunha as well. Sebastian says, "See, mate, I'm a man of my words. Nice channel. Great to be here. Thank you. I'm glad you're here as well, man. You've been really good. Great addition. You fit right in. You fit right in with the rest of the, sort of the day ones, the OGs, and the super loyal ones. So, who are always here, or always make an effort to be here. Mbeumo has the ability and desire to. He would fill in anywhere and give you 100%. Yep, that's why we got him. And that's really good. Same for Cunha, to be honest. Yep. And that's sort of the thing I will say for Ineos. Listen, the profile of player that we've gone for, I will give them that for sure. Okay, that has been a major change. It's definitely been a positive. All right. And it's definitely different. And they need to continue to carry on doing that. I don't think that the necessary change. I think that's the one thing that they've really sort of nailed down is the profile of the player that we're getting in. And as I said, again, you're not going to get every player right. You know what I mean? Not every player is going to work out. It's literally impossible. No club gets every player right. Some of them are just better at sort of hiding it, fixing it. And also the media gives less shit because it's not United and it's some other club. Last stop says Cunha, another one too. We have a few more than we realize when you deep it. Delo is another player who plays 110%. Just Kase. Just his case is sometimes his technical and IQ lets him down, but effort we can't deny. Well, yeah, I've always said that about Delo as well. Like, I think he does have sort of, that's why he was sort of in the leadership group. He does have a good attitude. He does have a good mentality. There is a bunch of them. There's quite a few of them. But just going forward, when we bring in the new ones, we got to make sure they have them. And if they're better ability and they have, maybe an exceptionally high level of that as well, I mean, it's going to be double positives on both ends. So, yeah, but Delo definitely is one that gives you that. Bruno gives it to you as well, like you guys said, and Mbeumo and Cunha. And I think SESKO's got a little bit of it in there, but I think I don't know. SESKO comes off as like he seems a bit quiet. You know what I mean? He seems a bit like his character is a bit quiet in that. But he's a young guy, and I think he'll come into his own when he gets a little bit more comfortable. I think he's still, finding his feet. Maguire will give you what he's got. Lisandro definitely. I mean, constantly just putting himself, his body on the line and all over the place and stuff like that. By the way, to keep you updated, it is Tottenham 1, Manchester City 2, 54 minutes into that match. Bruno right now at 12 assists. Damn, 5 up. And that's what we want. Long ago, 2-0 was enough. Now 3-0 is required. Yeah, I mean, for me, growing up, like, they used to always say 2-0 is the worst score line you could have. And when I was young, I didn't really understand because I was a kid. I didn't really get what they were saying. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, how can two... Because they used to tell me 1-0 is better than 2-0. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You have 2 goals. How can 1-0 be better than 2-0? You have 2 goals. But then over the years, I've seen way too many examples of when you have a 2-0, and I've seen it gone fucking horribly wrong. And I go, I understand now. I understand why. Benjamin SESKO, we told, stay composed, get ball, turn, hit, net. I mean, Benjamin SESKO, 360 no scope. 360 no scope goal. Fantastic goal. I'll be watching it back later for sure. Absolutely, 100%. I'll be watching back later for sure. This thing has broken, has it? Ah, okay. So yeah, I don't know. You guys, who's your man of the match? By the way, Fulham club. You know, Fulham FC Football Club. Yeah, I know they're a small club, so it's weird to banter small clubs. But when they scored the 2-2, the Fulham admin for the Fulham football account on X tweeted, and I don't know how I'm going to read this, but I'll try and read it appropriately. Tweeted it GBF, DB, GBDF, blah, 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 like a bunch of letters. Basically, you know, full of excitement because they tied it up. And what I will say is these people never learn the simple rule. Never celebrate too early, especially against Manchester United and Old Trafford. I don't know how long we have to do this for. I don't know how many times we have to do this. But you know what? If you want to keep doing it, fine. It makes for a good time to banter the shit out of you and laugh at you. Okay? So everybody point at laugh at Fulham and the admin. All right? They thought they did something and they did nothing but lose and take their L. So Ahmad has spoken to the media after the game and said Michael Carrick, since he came in, has kept the vibes very high. He's telling us that we play for Manchester United. This is a big club for everyone, and we need to keep the standard very high. And he also said he always tells us that we play for Manchester United. This is a big club for everyone. Oh, wait. I read the same thing. Yeah, it's the same quote. Sorry about that. I mean, he's not wrong. They say Benjamin SESKO received a standing ovation from teammates and staff when he returned to the home dressing room today. Travis Binion has been putting in plenty of extra one-on-one work. Well, if you don't know Travis Binion, he was the under-21s head coach, and he is an attacking coach. So that's why he's working with SESKO, because he is his specialty is sort of attack. He is an attacking. He understands attack. He was an attacker. So that's sort of his expertise there. So it does make sense that Travis Binion is working with Benjamin SESKO, who is obviously a striker. And it's good. One-on-one sessions. Carrick's come in. The other guys have come in. Steve Holland and the others. They've implemented these sort of more one-on-one training sessions, which I think is good. I mean, they do this sort of in school as well. You know, in some schools, in some places, you know, instead of teaching the class as one big class and, just assuming everybody is on the same level and everybody's going to learn the same, they do tend to split the classes up into like sections or groups, which they say improves learning. So we're sort of doing something similar right now in terms of that, we have been doing, obviously there's team training, but they have broken up some of the team into groups and they're doing more like sort of focused individual training as well. So it seems to have a positive impact. Looks like it's going to continue to have a positive impact. And it's really good that, the team, like, the whole team, the players, his teammates, and the staff, giving him a standing ovation. I don't think Roy Keane would approve of that too much because Roy Keane would say he's just doing his job and he's doing what he's supposed to do. But it's good that, everybody is behind everybody. And that's one of the things that I've been saying, even when Ruben was here, okay, and it wasn't going great. I still said, because you can still see it, the players we have, they're more of a team. They're more of a bit of a family. It's not cliquey like how it was in the past. It's not, it doesn't feel like a school lunch table, okay? It doesn't feel like there's a couple guys that sit at the cool table and the rest of you are uncool and we have less respect for you. We don't take time out of our day to, interact with you. In the past, the team did feel quite divided like that. They weren't united. They were just like, it was a bunch of group of individuals that, we either got on or we barely spoke to each other. And it's like, you can't even have that dynamic in a football team, okay? You don't have to be best mates in terms of, when you're not on the pitch or whatever it is, when you're not at work, You don't have to be like hanging out at each other's house, going out to dinner with each other and your wives or your girlfriends or whatever it is. You know, you don't have to be going on vacation together, but you can tell these players are like, they're more close together. They're more like, there's more of a respect for each other. They get along well with each other, you know, and it has nothing to do with even like nationality or anything like that. You got Luke Shaw hanging out, or not hanging out, but Luke Shaw's getting on with Mateus Cunha. They're Brazilian. He's Brazilian and he's English. And, you know, it has nothing to do with, oh, that's, you know, fellow Englishman. That's my English mate. And we back the English. Like, you know, whereas that's what it seemed like it definitely was before. So I think that's definitely been a positive as well. SESKO himself has said it was incredible to be able to help the club, the team, and the fans secure the victory. It's always good to help, and of course to score. Well, good for you, buddy. We're proud of you, and we look forward to doing it more and more. I'm just seeing if anything else is worth sort of mentioning here. Shea Lacey didn't get on the pitch today, but he'll probably listen. He's probably going to have more opportunities because with Dorgu out, yeah, we don't have necessarily another winger. And even though, like I said, what could possibly happen is that SESKO came on and Mbeumo did go, you know, to the wing. We are going to have to maybe manage the minutes just a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't think, you know, we might have to sub off Brian. You know, there might be a time where Brian's not having a great game either. So we are going to have to sort of make some changes. So I'm sure, you know, he didn't get on the pitch today, but I sort of expect him to be, you know, on the bench going forward, at least for the time being. And I'm sure he'll get, you know, I'm sure he'll get his opportunity at a different time in a different match. Carrick on SESKO's header hitting the post. That's the life of a striker, even if I don't know much about it. You have to be there to take the chances, and sometimes you miss them, but we've done good work these last few weeks. The coaches have worked a lot with Ben, and the fact that he manages to keep his cool to score after he missed the chance shows he has character. It was a fantastic finish. I'll remember for a long time. And yeah, I think he's spot on yet again. Michael Carrick. Definitely knows what he's talking about. Definitely knows what he's doing so far. It's been really good. And even SESKO on Instagram said, Stretford end, Fergie time. What a feeling. All together, keep going. And that's what you want to see from the players. Just understanding what it is and what it means and what it's about and what it's supposed to be. And they're working towards it. They are working towards it. Sebastian says, Eric, same thing here. Did not understand where he got the extra 12 minutes from. I mean, he just fucking made it up, didn't he? He just made it up, Sebastian, didn't he? He didn't want us to win. You know, he didn't want us to win. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. But, where am I? All right, guys, listen. Been a good day. All right. The support has been really good as usual. Thank you, everybody. Greatly appreciate it. Carrick Jesus still here. Carrick Jesus on the thumbnail. Had to do it. Had to do it for the late Fergie time winner. Miracles happening at this football club since he's walked in. I think Lawrence Berry said on the watch along, we walked on water today. And maybe we did. Definitely at the end. So it's been really good. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Sundays. Keep it, mate, till the end of the season. I'm going to keep it as long as it keeps going. As long as it's good. As long as things are positive, we got to keep it. We got to keep it. It's a good omen. It's a good omen. You know, I think, you know, my father might disagree, but I would say, listen, I would say if good things are happening, And since this thing was created, and if good things continue to happen, then I think, actual Jesus is okay with it. Because otherwise, I think he'd be punishing us for it. So I think he's okay with it. I think he understands. It's a bit of a joke. It's a bit of a laugh. It's in good faith. It's not in disrespect towards Jesus. So, but yeah, listen, we'll be live tomorrow. Hold on, let me see. I gotta check something out here. What's today? The 1st? Yeah, we'll be live tomorrow, 8:15 p.m. UK time. We'll be live. We'll sort of give a good close to 24 hours to digest the match. We'll talk about it again. We'll also do the news for the day and, whatever comes out of it. Also, I believe the transfer window closes tomorrow as well. So I don't think I'll go live for it because I don't expect anything to happen. And, it closes at... What time does it close at? 5 p.m. UK or something like that? 5 or 7 or something like that. It's too early. So we'll just let it do what it does. And, if United happen to do something, we'll go live for that. That'll, and that's the way we'll go live early. But I don't expect anything to happen. So in that case, we'll just go live regular time, 8:15 p.m. UK. And I hope to see you all there. Everybody's been really good. Sebastian joined, part of the VIP, the RDE VIP member group now. So we got another one. We got a couple of them. Lucky says his man of the match was Mateus Cunha, Casemiro, Sandro Martinez. Well, I don't know. Listen, I mean, I guess you could do whatever you want. If you want to give 3 people man of the match, go ahead. But yeah, I give it to Casemiro. Sebastian says, cheers, everyone. Big up. Cheers to you. Thank you for the support. Thank you, everybody that smashed the like button. I don't know if we got to 3,290 yet, but I would hope that we did because we were 2 away. We were 2 subscribers away. And whenever the counter wants to update, it'll update, I guess. I got to sort that out. I wanted it to be like instantly live, and it's never instantly live. So, Lucky says, we take it, the game in Thriller. We'll see you next time in the Premier League. Yep, we'll be live tomorrow. Everybody be good. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays. Go in happy if you're going to work or if you're going to school or whatever it is on the Monday. Go in with a smile, go in with positivity. Don't have the Monday blues. I know some people struggle with Mondays. It's just another day. Doesn't matter if it's called Monday or Tuesday or whatever it is. We go head on into the week. And we got something to smile about and we're happy. So we're going to enjoy the rest of our weekend and we'll enjoy our Monday and we'll enjoy the rest of our week as well. And then we'll get close to the next match as well. So, cheers. Be good. You said I will see Wednesday. All right. We'll be good then. All right. Take care, guys. Be good. Stay safe. Appreciate you. Every single one of you. Support has been fantastic. You guys are the best. And, we'll see each other tomorrow.